Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
Then, after Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, Jyoti Jyot, Guru Granth Sahib is our Guru. Yeah? Banda Singh Bahadur now is on a mission. Yeah? So that's the real focus. What happens after this is Banda Singh Bahadur is on a mission to go to Sirhind, and with him are thousands of people. Yeah? And it's going to be a big one. It's not going to be some small thing. And the Panj Pyare appointed by Guru Gobind Singh Ji themselves are there to guide him. So what we see next is kind of like Guru ordained, yeah? Guru sanctioned. Takes him a year to get to Punjab. Thousands of people join him. He gathered the forces, issued hukumnamas to the Sangat, telling them who he was, and that he had this mission and to join him. Also on the way, they raided the Mughal government armories and all their treasuries for funds. Yeah, they basically robbed the Mughals. Yeah, you might say, "Oh, that's not wrong," but you know, these are the people that were going to fight anyway, so they just helped themselves. And they said, "People, you're going to join us, and come armed. Bring your own weapons as much as you can." Okay, so the revolutionaries of the world at this time in India are getting charged up and joining the Khalsa. Don't really need people who are like already like, "Oh, koi karna hai." If you're going to stay at home and carry on doing your Part Puja, then stay at home and carry on doing your Part Puja. You don't have to join the Khalsa. The Khalsa is like the active force. Yeah, not everybody has to be an Amritari Sikh. Yeah, you could just be a normal Sikh doing your part and stuff. If you want to be Amritari Sikh, then you have to carry a kirpan, which means you have to be active, right? There were some bloody massacres of the Mughal tyrants. Some people that were really bad on the way up, they decided, well, while we're here, might as well deal with them as well. Yeah, basically it was a you know, that's it. Roll back the Mughal Empire. In May 1710, there's a massive battle. They get to Sirhind, okay, and they basically win over Sirhind. Yeah, and effectively they almost destroy Sirhind to get to this guy, and they killed Wazir Khan. Yeah, you can go to Sirhind now. The place is still there. You can go there. You can see some of the old houses, and also you can see then what they did next. Is they basically changed the regime, took over in that area, in that ilaka, the Sikhs were now in charge. The first thing they did, check this out, after obviously killing Wazir Khan, is they have an egalitarian revolution. They take the land of the rich people and they give it away to the poor. Sounds familiar? Yeah, Lenin, communism. Yeah, 200 years later, they're talking about this. Yeah, that rich. Maharaj started this. This was the idea that they were going to do this. Zamindari, which are the landlords, they were abolished, and the poor farmers who actually used that farm got given the land. Yeah. Administration is appointed by the Khalsa, a new administration, separate from the Mughal administration. It's wiped out, and the Panj Pyare are basically in charge of that, of the administration. Also, after having killed Wazir Khan and taken the kind of revenge for what happened to Chote Sahibzade, yeah, because the Bade Sahibzade, they died in battle, right? Chote Sahibzade, that was not some honourable, you know, it was, from their point of view, they were shaheed, but that was not the way that war should be fought. So actually, that was where he got punished. But also, they then went to get revenge for Bulle Shah. Not Bulle Shah, sorry, Pir Buddu Shah. Yeah? That was the second mission. So after having done that, remember, it's not about Islam versus Sikhism. It's good guys versus bad guys. That's all this is, yeah? And Buddu Shah and his family had been, you know, had suffered, and they took revenge for that as well. What else happens? A new calendar is started. From Guru Nanak Dev Ji's birth is 000. Yeah, like Christ, yeah, when he was born, is year 0 is Christ. So they start up a new year, Nanak Shahi calendar. Okay, starting from Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. And a coin is issued. There's an interesting coin. They basically established their own kingdom. Yeah, because you don't issue coins unless you're the king, right? Lohgarh is a fort, and that's established. Okay, that's like a fort near. So if you go to Sirhind, you can then go to Lohgarh, which is on a corner. It's on a hill, and there's a fort there. Now it's kind of destroyed now because of, you know, after what happened, but you can still see the encampments that dig down, because you normally dig down in a fort, yeah. And you can see where the Singhs would be there. You can go to this place, and I went to that place as well. Maharaj Kirpa, when I was 13 years ago, I got a chance to go there. And effectively what they establish is a state within a state. You've got the wider Mughal Raj, but now there's this independent Sikh Raj within that. Okay? And the coin is called this of the Sikh Raj. Yeah? And here's a picture of it. It's in Persian. You might think, well, it should be in Gurmukhi. But Persian was the kind of court language of all the people at that time. Like even my grandfather would read his part in Urdu. Yeah? Because that's what they would educate people at that time. They spoke that. So very common thing in that area. Yeah? The side A of that coin, now listen what it says. Sikha Zad Hardo Alam Teg Nanak Wahib Fateh Guru Gobind Singh Shahanshah Fazl Sacha Sahib Ast. Coin struck for the two worlds. I love this bit. They said this coin is valid on earth and in the next world. Yeah? Why? Because it's guaranteed by the sword of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Yeah? Not this, they're saying, and they say, victory gained by the grace of Guru Gobind Singh, the King of Kings and the true Emperor. Everything is Fateh is because of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. In the State Kripa. Right? So when you say Vahe Guru Ji Ki Fateh, see how it changes? I say Vahe Guru Ji Ki Fateh, and I say Vahe Guru Ji Ki Fateh. Just that pause there changes the whole meaning. Yeah? Wow, the victory to the Guru. Yeah? We talked about this when we did the Simran program, or the week 2. What is Simran? You can say Vahe and then Guru. Wow is my Guru. Yeah. Okay. Then the next side B. Stuck in the haven of refuge, the beautiful city, the ornament of the blessed throne. Yeah. And Maharaj says, Deg Deg Fateh Nusrat Bedrang Yaft Aznanak Guru Gobind Singh, which is never ending victory to Langar and the sword. What is a sword for us? Kirpa. To save people, to serve people. Maharaj is saying never ending victory, yeah, to Langar and protection for everybody. This is basically what we are offering the world. What we offer the world is that you will be safe and you will be fed. Basic needs will be met. Most people, if they have that, they're satisfied. Okay? Most people don't have this in this world. And Maharaj says, look, Yaft az Nanak Guru Gobind Singh. By the grace of Nanak, Guru Gobind Singh. The same. The 10 lights in one. So there's a kingdom within a kingdom, okay, formed by the Khalsa, where Banda Singh Bahadur is effectively the ruler of that kingdom, but the Panj Pyare are the heads of different areas, okay, but it doesn't work for too long. Why is that? Let's have a look. Basically, it expands too quickly, okay. They get very emboldened by their victories over the locals, and they just start expanding very quickly. And from October 1710, they went from the Ravi to the Jamuna. It's quite a long distance, in terms of rivers, River Ravi, River Jamuna. They took over a lot of land. And what they would do is they appoint people to be their ambassadors. So there's somebody would come along and become, a worthy Singh. He'd be said, right, you are now in charge of that area. Okay, go over there, take it over. Give away the land to the poor people. You are now in charge. So they started doing this. It was like a revolution that was spreading. And Bahadur Shah, in the meantime, yeah, he's been down south dealing with the Maharathas and all those kind of people. And he's like, did I know there's a revolution taking place in Punjab? Sikh society set up their own kingdom. Yeah? And that's what they call it. This is it's the throne of Guru Gobind Singh, they're saying. The coin is being issued by their name. And so he comes back and he launches a jihad against the Sikhs. Okay? So this is now effectively the Mughal emperor getting involved as well. Yeah? And the Hill Rajas join in. Because they've always, they're not exactly in favor of the pesky Sikhs anyway. So they say, right, let's get involved. So basically now it's all out war. And what happens is that effectively the Khalsa, had been very skilled in guerrilla warfare. That's what they were good at. Yeah? Getting in and out, fighting. Unfortunately, because the Banda Singh Bahadur had taken over so much land administratively, yeah, we basically didn't really have the closeness of the Khalsa. They were all spread out everywhere. Yeah. Also, we were established in local areas, so this was our place, this was our base, So they could come to those places and get us. One other thing that happened is that the 5 Hazuri Khalsa were spread out as well. Those people that were given by Guru Gobind Singh, the Panj Pyare, Banda Singh Bahadur didn't keep all of them next to him. He put them in charge of different areas. So when it came to getting advice, he couldn't then get access to them. Yeah. So there wasn't a kind of a strong nucleus of Sikhs that were thinking together along the same lines. They were spread out too thinly, and effectively the Sikh kingdom starts to get rolled back. Yeah, the Mughals take over one bit, take another bit, and there's a siege of Lohgarh. Okay, that fort that I talked about, the siege of it. Loha, by the way, means iron. So it's a Garh means a fort. So it's called the Fort of Iron. So you can see that a lot of Sikhs wear Loha, Sarab Lokara. Yeah. So Loha was like the cheapest metal, and it's very strong as well. And the Sikhs said, look, that it's available to everybody. That's one of the good things about Loha. If it was gold, it's only for the rich people. But Waheguru is for everybody. Yeah. So in a way, like when he says Sarab Lo, that's another word for God as well. Yeah. Pure iron. Banda Singh Bahadur escapes from the siege of Lohgarh. Yeah. Now what happens is that Zakaria Khan comes in. Yeah. This guy, you've heard his name, I'm sure. Yeah, everybody, just from learning history. But who was he? He comes in charge, becomes the head of Lahore at the same time. Okay. So he basically, Wazir Khan has been killed. Yeah. In Sirhind, and Lahore, which is in Pakistan now, the head of it is Zakaria Khan, and he decides, right, that he needs to basically work. He's kind of, he's obviously got the mission anyway to kill the Sikhs, yeah, because it's jihad against the Sikhs. But he is especially zealous about killing the Sikh, very keen to do this. So what happens is from 1708 to 1719, because this kind of, Banda Singh Bahadur has gotten to Punjab and taken 1710. So it's just 1710 to 1790. What happens is that there's an order, kill on sight. Anybody that's sick, kill on sight. Okay, so the Sikhs are now having to kind of escape into the jungles wherever they are, which is not their own territory, and our territory is becoming smaller and smaller. Yeah, there are Muslim soldiers in the Sikh army as well, just so you are aware at this time even. So while the Mughal army is trying to do a jihad in the Sikhs, at the same time, even then, there's Muslims on our side who are very emboldened by this idea of getting rid of zamindari and the leaders and giving power back to the people. Yeah. There's very big freedom of worship within this Khalsa army as well. It wasn't like you have to worship our way. Yeah. Bahadur Shah now at this time in 1712. This is Bahadur Shah. Remember, is that guy who skanked Guru Gobind Singh on the promise he made. He was a son of Aurangzeb. He passes away, and then his son comes up, which is Farooq Siyar. He comes up as the next king. Yeah, so there's a kind of a regime change going on. Banda Singh Bahadur gets captured in 1715, sorry, in Gurdas Nangal. Is from about 1710 to 1715 he can't be found. Yeah, and during this time when he escapes up to Gurdas Nangal, there has a community. He ends up getting married. Has a kid, okay, whose kid is about 5 years old, okay, by the time he's captured. As per Sikhi, he was been a Bairagi before, yeah. He'd given up women, he'd lived in that way. But now that he'd come into Khalsa, then he took on the idea of Gristi Jeevan and things like this, okay. So he's captured, his wife is captured as well. He's then taken, Zakaria Khan captures him, taken to the new emperor at Delhi. Obviously not Dhoom Dham Nal, as a captive. But what they also do is they take 700 Sikhs, yeah, from Gurdas Nangal when they capture him, all together from Lahore to Delhi. Banda Singh Bahadur, because they all fear him, because he's got this history as this occult practicer, very loads of powers, and he's achieved so much. They think he's some kind of magical creature. Yeah, they put him in an iron cage on top of the elephant, so they can all see him from far away. Yeah. Not even wooden, iron, yeah? Trying to keep him in there. And in 1716 then, what they do is when they get to Delhi, they decide to kill 100 Sikhs a day. Yeah? For 1 week basically. They said they're going to kill 100 Sikhs every day. And our history says not one single Sikh out of those 700 gave up their faith. Okay? This is where the story you hear about of that young child, yeah? Whose mother came up to him and she said, don't kill my son. he was just caught up in it all. He's only 15, 16 years old. And the mother comes up, she does ardas to the Mughal emperor. She goes, he's not a Sikh. He's not a Sikh. You just caught him with them. He was just hanging out with them, and you suddenly caught him, and now, please free him. And they call him forward, and he's very sort of, good, fair, good-looking kind of boy, the Mughal guy takes pity on him and said, okay, if he's not a Sikh, you can take him out. And this boy, 15 years old, 16 years old, he says, she's lying. I'm a Sikh and that's not my mother. Yeah, she's not my mother. I'm a Sikh. He runs to the front of the queue. He says, I want to be next. Hai ki cheez. We hear these stories and we wonder, what is it? What is driving these people? This kid has never met Guru Gobind Singh Ji. He's only ever seen the Khalsa. What is it? Why are these people willing to die? There's no need to give you guys guilt trips. People are giving people guilt trips. Look what they did, look what they did. The question we need to get to is, why is this person so inspired by the Khalsa? Yeah? That they're willing to die rather than give up. You've got to get down to the crux of this. The Guruji is perfect. Yeah? Their kirpa works even then. Guru Gobind Singh hasn't gone anywhere. He's still there in the Khalsa. The people can see him amongst his Sikhs. They can see that these Sikhs are inspired by this passion. The Naam still works. The Bani still works. The Sangat, the power of the Sangat still works. These people are prepared to live and die for this truth because they know that death is nothing. Reincarnation is true. It's not some kind of false doctrine. It is true. And you can get mukti from Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Whereas if you deny mukti for the sake of this worldly life, yeah, you're not going to enjoy it. So he's blessed. That's what I'm saying.
That account is written by Christian missionaries.
Yeah.
Of the 160 to the day, and how they got brave and saying, me first, rather than crying and running away.
Yeah. There's loads of stories about that time. I'm not going to even once they showed. They were all in a. There's a great story. They were all in the jail, and the Mughal king was saying, look, Farooq Siyar was asking, like, what is it about these Sikhs? How come these 700 people have managed to cause so much havoc to my kingdom? And they go, look, I'll show you something. The Jalad, the guy who was he said, I'll show you something. He took a piece of roti. These guys were starving, yeah? He took a roti and he put it inside the jail cell. He said, now watch. And he gave it to the eldest guy. The eldest guy goes over, yeah, and gives it to the child. Yeah? He goes, Bacche khange, it's good. The child goes, nah, I'm going to die anyway. I've got nothing I can do. He gives it to his elder brother. He goes, tu khala. Elder brother goes, what can I have? Even if I did survive, I don't know anything. So he gives it to his dad. Tusi khalo. And you can at least do something. The dad goes, no. And he also that I eat and don't give it to, he gives it to his dad. Tusi khao. It gets back to the granddad. Yeah? And he goes, look at these. They're not normal people. Yeah? Because they were inspired, man. That inspiration, they saw all around them. It wasn't like one person inspired, 10 people inspired. When you go to a camp, you get a bit of sangat. Everybody around them was fired up. That's why camps work, yeah? That's why camps work. If you go to a camp, you'll see. If people are all inspired you, that sangat changes you. It's like having a wash, yeah? Sangat is like that ishnan. And basically, these 100 Sikhs, they were happily taking Shaheedi every day. Now you might say, look, ki hona hai? When you die, that's the question people have. They fear death, don't they? People fear death, that's why they would be willing to change for the sake of death. Now in Chaupai Sahib, we're going to start, Maharaj says, Maran kal ka tras nivariye. Destroy my fear of that time of death. Maran kal, the time of death. Ka tras means fear. Nivariye means to destroy. Destroy my fear of death. Because Sangaji, I'll tell you one thing, yeah? If you die as a Sikh, you only get two choices. If you die as a true Sikh, you get mukti, you get to come back and serve the Panth. Maharaj himself comes down for you, innit? Maharaj says, na, Bani Guru, Guru hai Bani. Which Bani Amrit Sare? Then the promise is made, innit? Maharaj says, look, Bani mein sab kuch Amrit hai. Whatever you need, the Amrit we drink is also from Bani, innit? It's made with Bani. Maharaj says, then Gurbani kya hai? Sevak jan manna. The person who accepts what Bani, Partak Guru Nistare. Partak means visible. Guru comes himself and saves that Sikh. This is the promise. So, those people, they were one with the Guru. They had no fear. Maran Kal Ka Tras na variye. And the Bani is what does it. It's not just Sikhs living, they were living the Bani. This was a kind of Nitnem, Simran, Chandi Diwa, Dasam Bani. This kind of stuff. This is what makes you strong. And we need to ke kahaniyan sun ke assi strong ho sakte hage. It doesn't work like that. Yeah? You've got to be reading that Bani, getting yourself powered up with the Naam. Banda Singh Bahadur, what happens to him? People are questioning his, what he did, whatever. Some people, I'm not going to go into it now, but some people said, no, sometimes he sort of changed some of the ways of the Khalsa because of his previous background. However, at his time of Shahidi, look what happens. His son, Ajay Singh, 4 years old, 4 or 5 years old, in front of him, they kill him and take his heart out and put it in his mouth, try to convert him. And he himself, how is he killed? His skin is pulled off him with pincers, until he bleeds to death. But no, he didn't convert. Happy to take it. So basically, from then in 1616 up to 1719, there's a price on the head of every Sikh, and thousands of Sikhs are killed. Any girl, boy, man, anybody who is a Sikh, that's it. And still people are becoming Sikhs. This is a thing to remember, Even in the jungles, people are still becoming Amritari Khalsa. Yet they know that if they step outside looking like this, they will get killed. Hun itthe dekh lo. Itthe no problem, man. Put on your pug, dadi, go to work. No one cares, no one stops you. What's going wrong? That's the question to ask. Why is it going on? There's no individual person to blame about this. The system itself is messing up. 1720, what happens? Okay, Bhai Mani Singh ji now, remember he was in Amritsar, he becomes like the main leader of the Panth, because Banda Singh Bahadur has become Shaheed. Okay, Bhai Mani Singh is a Hazuri Sikh. Okay, he has lived with Guru Gobind Singh ji, knows the Bani inside out, wrote Dasam Granth Sahib ji as Guru Gobind Singh dictated it, wrote Guru Granth Sahib ji as Guru Gobind Singh dictated it. He becomes the main leader, and he's back into the Harmandir Sahib. He also now becomes just Jathedar of the Akal Takht. The head of the Akal Takht. He effectively also resolves this conflict between the Bandai Khalsa and Tat Khalsa. I'll mention it here. It might be too detailed for some people, but that's fine. There's a bit of a Bandai Khalsa weren't really people that were around at Banda Singh Bahadur's time. They were people that followed him and sort of took it a bit further. Many times you see, like, for example, Namtaris, they follow their guru, which they call Satguru Ram Singh. But Satguru Ram Singh was not called Satguru Ram Singh. He was called Pai Ram Singh or Baba Ram Singh at his time. He was a Mahapurukh, but he was a Khalsa. He was a sword-wielding Khalsa. Later on, Namtaris took the kirpans off and became all sort of, non-Khalsa members. How did that happen? It wasn't because of Baba Ram Singh anyway. So people followed Banda Singh Bahadur. They took it a bit further. They started doing things that they have to wear only red, no meat is allowed. Became very sort of no kirpan is needed. It became sort of too soft and sort of almost nirmali. And there was a bit of an argument between the two sides. And Bhai Mani Singh is instrumental in resolving this and bringing the Khalsa back together again. Very highly respected Sikh, okay? I talk about him because people that now question Guru Granth Sahib ji, Dasam Bani, Bani of Guru Gobind Singh ji, don't realize that Bhai Mani Singh is a person that put it together. Important to remember that. Before we start questioning Bhai Mani Singh, is who was he, look at his background, what he achieved. These are people that were trusted by the Guru, trusted by the Sikhs of the Guru as well. Reinforce the idea of Guru Granth and Guru Panth. Okay, Gurmata is taken. Gurmata is the Guru's wish. It's taken when you get everybody together, and then the Panch Khalsa are given. They listen to the Sangat. They go away. They come back with a decision, and then it's put to the Sangat. The Sangat votes it. Then it becomes a Guru's command. This is how we decided problems. Okay, and Bhai Mani Singh brings that back in. Amritsar is now established as the center of Sikh psyche. Okay. And every year people still go to Amritsar. Either they fight death to get there, they still get through and they have Ishnan and come back out again. Either in the middle of the night they'll go. Okay? But Sikhs actually still living in the forest, okay, on horses. They're living guerrilla lifestyle. Zakaria Khan carries on becoming higher and higher, and he becomes famous as a killer of Sikhs. He's a bounty on the head of every Sikh, and Zakaria Khan is very keen to become rich through the killing of the Sikhs. Yeah. Now there's another guy in our history, Diwan Lakhpat Rai, high caste Hindu, very keen on hunting the Khalsa. From 1720 to 1730, basically Sikhs lived this guerrilla life. 10 years, yeah, long time. And yet they keep on growing. They become quite a big force. Bit of a trouble for Zakaria Khan. Imagine, still there's a price in every Sikh and they're still growing. Yeah. And the philosophy they had was called Taifat. What is Tai, you know, is 2.5, right? So Taifat means like this, okay? You get 1 point if you fight someone, kill them and you win. Yeah? You get another point if you fight them, but you can't win, so you get out alive to fight another day. But you only get half a point if you fight and you die. Yeah? So basically the point is not to always die. Yeah? If you are being overpowered, get out. Yeah? Because they go, you know, it's alright, we liked to have Shahidi back in those days, but now we need to keep the people alive and keep going. So they become very adept at going in, engaging the enemy, coming out. Right? That's harassed them, a couple of people died, then they go in again, shoot a few people, give them trouble, and they keep pareshan karte the both. You know this whole idea of Sardar de 12 baj gaye? That comes from this idea. Because what would happen is, in the middle of the night, at midnight, people are snoozing, having a rest. That's a good time to attack. In the middle of the day, at lunchtime, it's hot. People are again, they've had their lunch, they're feeling a bit hazy. Some of you guys, I'm sure, in front of your desk at 12 o'clock as well. Yeah? That's when they would attack as well. Right? So, 12 baj gaye, Sardar de 12 baj gaye comes from this idea. When they would come in, and they would come in with shock tactics. Why did they go, oh, you're going nuts? They would come with shock, screaming, shouting, throwing stuff, just causing mayhem. You know, imagine running into an enemy, you know, like you've seen, I think it's Dances with Wolves or whatever. He just runs in, just throws fire here, create confusion, and then just run back out again. It's like, what just happened here? Yeah? Right? That's what they would do. They became adept at creating confusion and killing people within that process, okay? Not letting people get on. And basically, from this time, the 10 years, Sikhs are as, you know, guerrilla warfare. However, in 1733, basically, yeah, Zakaria Khan gets fed up. The Sikhs still keep on growing. He's killing them. They keep on growing. Yeah? And they just keep causing him hassle. So he goes, you know what? Let's bring these people in a little bit. Let's give them a little bit of status. Let's co-opt them into the Mughal kingdom. Maybe they'll work underneath us rather than against us. Right? So basically he's like, you know, they want to take over Punjab. Let's make them a part of our kingdom. Yeah? So what he offers then is, he had other things to worry about. He offered them a Nawabi. A Nawabi means an area and a kind of a Mughal position to their head. He said, we'll give us somebody who's your leader. We will give them a Mughal kind of title. And this person will be your leader. He'll be our liaison to you guys. And you can live peacefully as long as you don't break our laws. Okay? So Nawab Kapur Singh, it's called Jagir. Jagir is a jagah that was given to them. And a Nawabi was offered, a leader. The Panth at that time chose Nawab Kapur Singh. Okay? He's from the Singhpuria Misl. He's one of the famous jewels of our Panth of this time. So you remember Bhai Mani Singh, yeah? Bhai Mani Singh, he's still around, but at the same time, Nawab Kapur Singh is chosen, okay?
Why did they choose?
He was just Chardi Kala Guru Sikh. He's just like, everybody loved him, yeah? Just generally, like, he was just like, people just loved this guy. Also, he was very good sevak. Yeah, I'll talk about him in a second, where he was from. So he's 1697, he's born. So he didn't meet Guru Gobind Singh Ji that much, yeah? Or maybe he might have met Guru Gobind Singh, but far as we know, he took Amrit in 1721. Okay? So therefore, he wasn't really like what you might call Hazuri Sikh. Okay? But one of his Panj Pyare was Bhai Mani Singh himself. So he's close to that kind of the lineage, you know, of the people that were Hazuri. And he obviously learns from them. He's a great warrior and a leader. During the battles, you know, he's proven himself in battle. He's not some kind of guy who just sits on the sidelines. He's been at the front, getting stuff done. Yeah? He does a lot of seva of the horse of the Panth. That's one of his things. He's a sevak as well. He's not just like a leader who just sits on the back line. There's a lot of seva. One of his seva was to clean the horses, you know, clean up their rubbish and looking after them, feed them and stuff. When he gets offered this Nawabi, he's like, whoa, the leader of the Panth? Yeah? He goes, I can't accept it from them. Who are they to me? He says, I will only accept it if the Panj Pyare give it to me. So he said, Nawabi has to go at the feet of the Panj Pyare, and I'll take it from their feet. I will not take it from the Mughal king themselves. So this, whatever this pagdi hondi hagi and whatever they offered, he put it at their feet, and they blessed him, so he took it back. You'll only be a leader, the Panj Pyare give it to me, not from this Mughal king, you give it to me. So, and also he asked that if he'd like to keep his seva, that he carries on serving the horse of the Panth. These are the leaders that we had, yeah? Not these kind of nowadays, you never see the committee wale in the Gurdwara and that, yeah? At the top, they never come downstairs, you never see them doing anything at the front, apart from state secretary, yeah? Na kade kirtan se, na kade paath se, na to hai na. These are the leaders we used to have, yeah? They actually did stuff, and they still served. And the Panj Pyare of that time, this is the thing, I'm trying to, these names, you're trying to pull them all together that you've heard these names. The Panj Pyare of that time, when he took Nawabi from the Panth, Baba Deep Singh, Shaheeda Misl, born 1682. Okay, obviously he was of the age when he took Amrit from Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Yeah, Jassa Singh Ramgarhia, yeah, not Jassa Singh Ahluwalia, but the one before him. He's the head of the Ramgarhia Misl. Baba Hari Singh Tillan, yeah, Pangi. You know this later on becomes a Buddha Dal. He's one of those leaders. By Karam Singh, big famous, and also by Buddha Singh. Now, who's Bhai Buddha Singh? You can see here. He's actually the great-grandfather of Ranjit Singh. You know Maharaja Ranjit Singh? His great-grandfather was one of the Panj Pyare when Nawab Kapur Singh came into being. Okay? Nawab Singh is his son, and he founded the Sukracharya Misl, and later on, Sukracharya Misl is what becomes where Ranjit Singh is born into and takes over the whole of Punjab. Okay? So that's his grandfather, Nawab Singh. Now, from 1733 then, Kapur Singh comes into power. What is the first thing he does? He's a military man. He's Panthic minded. He just cares about the Panth. So he organizes the Panth straight away. Yeah? Like a soldier. Right? He organizes the Buddha Dal. They're the kind of senior elders of the Panth. They're the wise people that are going to lead everybody. They are in charge of Maryada, managing all the shrines, making sure things are getting done properly. Yeah? And you know, preaching as well. Teaching Bani. Also the Tarna Dal. This is the Tarna means young. Buddha means old, obviously. Yeah? So the Buddha were getting on with doing all the sort of admin effectively, and the young lot were the fighters, yeah. And that was the 12,000 strong at that time. And Hari Singh was put in charge of this. One of the previous Panj Pyare you just saw, yeah. And it's organized into 5 Misls, okay. Now, so you might think, oh, I've heard this Misl period, yeah. A Misl is like, you know, like you have an army. An army's got regiments. So, and within the regiments you'll have companies and sections. Anyway, I was in the army, so this might not. But anyway, it's divided into groups that work together, and each one's got a little leader. It's kind of semi-independent from the large. They just work together when it's required, because you can't organize 12,000 people into one group. It doesn't work. You need small groups because group cohesion is what works. Yeah. The Mughals now are like, whoa. We gave these guys a Nawabi and a Jageer. They could sit around and they can just kind of leave us alone, but they're getting organized into an army. Yeah, Hateni. So they're like, right, we've got to do something. Zakaria Khan goes, right, let's wipe them all out in one go. Because they think they got their own land. They think they can come to Amritsar and have like their meetings every year. Let's do something just to wipe them all out as much as we can. So he says, comes up with a good idea. He goes, why don't you organize a big Vaisakhi Mela in Amritsar? Gives them permission. He goes, go ahead, we will leave you alone. Enjoy it. In Harmandir Sahib in Vaisakhi time, right? What happens? He says, on the meantime, organize it, but you have to pay a tax for organizing it. And the Sikhs are like, okay, we'll pay a tax. As long as we can have a big Vaisakhi Mela in our Harmandir Sahib, we're happy with that, right? What happens though is, he thinks this is the great time. Surround them all in one place, and then just kill them all. Fish in a barrel, yeah? However, Bhai Mani Singh learns about this, right? And he says, no one should come. No one should come at all. Now what happens next is, they say to him, right, you got to pay the tax for the thing. He said, I'm not paying the tax. We cancelled the Vaisakhi. You were going to kill us all. So they said, no, pay up. He says, refuses to. And Bhai Mani Singh in 1734, yeah, is then executed, right? Now, he's offered the chance also to convert, yeah, 1734. He's off. And what does he say? He says, no way. Kuch bhi kar lo. This is Bhai Mani Singh, by the way, it reminds you, Bhai Mani Singh's brother is the one who was Shaheed with Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji in Delhi in 1675, yeah? Bhai Diyala Ji is his brother. Bhai Mani Singh Ji, his father was a shaheed. Yeah, his brothers a shaheed. His children go on to become shaheeds. Some of his children are already shaheed by this time. They had died in Chamkoti Gadi and places like that. He had 22 members of his family that were shaheed, including himself. Yeah, Bhai Mani Singh, he says, he's told you're going to get chopped to pieces. They always pick something new in it, something new to kill the Sikhs. Yeah, so this one is chopped from limb to limb. They go from joint to joint, band katane. And then you hear about Bhai Mani Singh in the Ardas every day. Yeah, band katai. That's him they're talking about. The Ardas was written by him. The Ardas we read now, the tradition, how it started and how it organized, is written by him, and he's actually included within it as well. Yeah, because we added all the different people inside it. Bhai Mani Singh says, okay, fine, from the wrist. The jalad comes to start from the wrist. Bhai Mani Singh goes, not from here. My first joint is here. Apna kaam pura karo, he says. What you got told, fulfill that hukum, start here. On jalad dekho, poor guy, innit? He thinks he's killing this guy, but the guy is killing him, innit? Yeah. And Bhai Mani Singh is then from here to here chopped piece by piece. Yeah, the whole time, no problem. Jardikla. Who is he seen? Seen Guru Tegh Bahadur ji become shaheed, innit? Through his brother's eyes. Yeah, but he's seen Guru Har Krishan Sahib ji. Bhai Mani Singh was a person who brought Guru Har Krishan Sahib ji's ashes back from Delhi to Kiratpur Sahib. Yeah, when they were shaheed in Delhi, when they were Jyoti in Delhi. So this is a person imbued, yeah, with Sikhi. Yeah, 1733, the attack is done back, and there's no more. It was a very small period that they gave us to Nawabi, and then they took it back. Not took it back, but they attacked us back. But basically, during this period, then the Sikhs are back into the forest, and thousands are again being killed on sight. But the organisation was still there. However, Nawab Kapur Singh says, right, that's enough then. None of this taking a Nawabi from these Mughals, living under them. Next thing we got to do is take over Punjab. Yeah. You know, you got to understand that at some point, had hogi, innit? You can't work with these people anymore. You accept them and then turn back, they spite you straight away. So, what they do is, they carry on in the prachar, the Khalsa carries on growing. Okay, Nawab Kapur Singh, still a very inspirational leader for this 6 years. But also, we get helped. Now, this is where I want to talk about this. A lot of people, they don't know this. There was two types of Mughals. There was the Indian Mughals, who were pretty much bedded into India. Yeah, they liked rag music, dancing. They sort of encouraged the arts. Then there was the Mughals from Afghanistan and Persia, yeah, which weren't Indian Mughals. They didn't speak Hindi. Yeah, they looked upon India just as a place to raid. The problem is there was two types of Mughals actually fought each other. These lot from Pakistan and stuff. Sorry, I do point this way. So imagine the map of India like this. Yeah, these lot from here would come here to attack, loot, and take back. They didn't care it was run by Mughals. It was an Islamic thing. It was not an Islamic thing. Islam was just like the background to who they were. The main thing was Islam. The main thing was looting. Yeah, and they started invading. So the Persian Mughals now invade Mughal India. Yeah, Nadir Shah of Persia in 1738 invades first. What happens? He loots Delhi, okay, the capital of Mughal India. He basically destroys them effectively from what they obviously run away from there, but he loots it. And this destabilized the Mughal kingdom of India. Yeah. Now what happens, yeah? While the two Mughals are fighting, the Sikhs, they're growing. Yeah. Because no one's really worried about them anymore. Right? So they keep growing, and also they're delighted. Because obviously, when he comes to Delhi to go back to Afghanistan and Persia, he's got to go back through Punjab. And what's he carrying? Loot. Yeah, he's going to go back with wagons full of money and guns. And Sikh's like, yo, it's a holiday. Yeah, take it over. So they're basically like, this is a gift. So the Dal Khalsa now organizes its forces to loot this guy on his way back. Okay, and they loot him, and also what they do is they free thousands of women. Okay, Bhai Sahib was saying 2,200 women they rescued. Okay, all these women were going to be taken back to be sold. Okay, in the slave markets of Ghazni in Afghanistan, they would have sold them off, and you don't want to know what kind of life they would have had. Okay, the Khalsa rescues them. Did the Khalsa say, great, we got women and gold? Because in a lot of women are seen by other religions as like war booty. You win the women as well. No, the Khalsa take them all back. Yeah, they return the women folk to the men. Now a lot of those families didn't accept those women back. They go, oh, they've been kidnapped by the Mughals, we can't touch them. Achut, yeah, they can't be touched anymore. And a lot of those women chose to stay with the Khalsa, yeah. But most of the Singhs were like, no, this is not right, yeah, because we can't win you. It's not some kind of thing. So the adab satkar for women folk is built into Sikhi. There's no such thing as rape. There's no such thing as women being booty, yeah. So what happens next now? The caste is obviously emboldened. The two sides fighting has made us stronger. Yeah. What happens in the next 6 years is Zakaria Khan gets very fed up. Yeah. He goes, right, these Sikhs are so pesky, they're getting stronger. Let's wipe them all out. He goes all out warfare. Yeah. Prices increase on the head of every Sikh. He got this guy, Masarangar. You've heard of him? Masarangar is one of his trusted lieutenants. He loves killing Sikhs, this guy. Yeah. He's one of our kind of, the famous guys in our history. He decides to take over Harmandir Sahib, Masarangar. He goes, one thing that's going to really annoy these guys is if I take over their main Harmandir Sahib, yeah? That Asthan that Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj made themselves, yeah? He goes, right, I'm going to take that over. What does he do? He sets up dancing girls there. He sets up his kingdom there. Now he's sitting inside the Darbar of Guru Maharaj, yeah? And in 1740, right, Sukh the Panth said, this ain't happening. Before they destroyed it, but they left it alone. This guy's now built his house inside it. Yeah, they go, this can't happen anymore. The Panth decides something has to be done, and they pick two people, Sukha Singh and Mehtab Singh. Yeah, bear in mind, some of our Ratan Singh Pangu is a grandfather of Mehtab Singh, a grandson of Mehtab Singh. Yeah, Sukha Singh and Mehtab Singh. Sukha Singh, story of him, he is basically a one-man army. This is one of the best soldiers in our Panth. He's built like a like a horse. He is so quick with a sword. He basically he just kills people, just like a killing machine. You put him into 10 people and there's no one going to be left here. You've seen his karate movies. He's just next level. And Mehtab Singh is like another brave Singh as well. They are sent off to kill Masarangar. Now imagine this mission, yeah. They're going to ride into Harmandir Sahib, where he's got all of his soldiers, and the hukum they've told him, come back with his head. Not just come back yourself alive, come back with his head. Yeah? Prove to us that you'd kill this guy. Idi besti karni hai. Also, there was an issue at that time of Dasam Granth Sahib. See, Dasam Granth Sahib is an amalgamation, just like Guru Granth Sahib Ji's amalgamation. But the amalgamation was made by Bhai Mani Singh Ji. Yeah? And in it are a lot of different banis. Some are like Akal Ustat Jab Sahib that we read every day. Some are more sort of stories and allegories, yeah, especially the Tirthur Pakyan Granth, yeah, and things like this, where people the clevernesses of men and women are talked about there, yeah. It's kind of for me, it's like teaching you how to survive in the world, Rajniti or political thinking. Anyway, Guru Sahib's advice. But Sikhs are like, well, this doesn't really work with this because we read this as part, or we can't really read this. It's more sort of like vichar, something to think about and read, and think about yourself. So they said, why don't we split the two parts up? Why don't we make one which is like normal part, which you can read, and one which is more sort of, things we can read for thinking about. The caste said, well, this is the big issue. Let's resolve this somehow. They say, okay, if Sukha Singh and Mehtab Singh can do this crazy mission of strolling into Harmandir Sahib, chopping off Masarangar's head and coming back with it, then the Dasam Granth Sahib stays together. Yeah? If they can't, then we split it. That's how the Panth was in those days. They say, Maharaj ji kirpa hovegi, let's pick something Maharaj can choose to do kirpa upon. Yeah? Because that's what we rely upon, Gur Prasad. So this is what happens. Sukha Singh goes in, and Mehtab Singh go in. They're dressed as, they got loyi over their head. They got loads of weapons around them. We can't see them. They're dressed as poor farmers. Yeah? They walk in, and they go, Hanji, we bought money for, they've got a sack of coins and stuff. We've got the offering from this pind for him. Yeah, Masarangar. Masarangar, he's sitting inside, got his dancing girls, his soldiers. They're like, very relaxed. They send them in. They tie their horses at Darshini Deori. If you've been outside Harmandir Sahib, when you go into the door, just next to that is a tree. They tie their horses there. They walk in. Yeah? And Masarangar is sitting in the front, and they say, who are you? He goes, oh, we come with all your offerings. He goes, go on and give it to me. And what he does is, as they go in, Sukha Singh basically goes, like Harmandir Sahib is like a circle, isn't it? It's like a small room. Sukha Singh goes that way and just works around the whole room, killing every single person. Yeah, just running through Qatar. Have you seen a Qatar, by the way? You know what qatar is? It's like a punch dagger. As you punch, there's a knife at the front. Yeah? So you can just punch in. It's armor piercing. It's small at the front and it expands on the way out. Very good at getting through people. He's going through qatars, punching, slashing, going through the whole room clearly. At the same time, Mehtab Singh has dropped the coins on the floor. Yeah? So Masarang leans forward to pick it up. Quick as a flash, head off, straight into the bag. It was all wood, it was fake coins. Yeah? His head's in the bag. Mehtab Singh's finished. They finish off the job, and everybody in the room is dead basically. And they've killed everybody in the room, including Masarangar. They then walk out. No one knows. They're all dead inside. They get on their horse and ride out. Yeah, is that amazing? Yeah. Akal, Sat Sri Akal. They ride all the way back to the Khalsa with his head, yeah, on a stick, yeah, on a spear. Asi karta. And so since that day, right, no one has questioned the Sangam Sahib being split. And now they're showing you of us, because Guru Sahib made, look at this mission they did, yeah, 2 people by themselves. So we shouldn't question. Now Mehtab Singh is actually captured later on. 4 years later he gets captured, and he's one of the people that we remember in the Ardas, because he was charkriyan te chade. He was put on a wheel tied, and then the other wheel had spikes on it, yeah, and he was crushed to death in that way. And thousands, during this time now, thousands are being brought to Lahore and they're being beheaded. Masase Rangar's whole kind of wholesale destruction of the Khalsa, that 6-year period, that's really what we call the first Holocaust, yeah. But this is Chota Ghallugharas comes first, yeah. Bada Ghallugharas comes later on. Bhai Taru Singh, at the same time, he's Shaheed as well. You know his story, yeah? Do you or not? Bhai Taru Singh is the one we talked about. That the thing was, they were scalped. Interesting story by Bhai Taru Singh. The reason that he was in that situation was because a poor Muslim man came to him and said that my daughter, who's very beautiful, has been stolen by a Flana person. He's stolen her, he wants to make her his wife, and she refused, she doesn't want him. Yeah? And the Mughal king at that time, or the Mughal area head, said, I can't help you because that guy's one of my close, like he's like my cousin kind of thing, and he's, you know, in charge of this area, so I'm not going to help you. So remember, this is zulm. Zulm is a taram. And he then says, no one is going to help me. And he wanders around saying, no one's going to help me. And he meets Bhai Taru Singh. Bhai Taru Singh is in a village. He's a Singh, but he's protected by the village because they love him so much. There's a lot of kirtan. And what he used to do, he wasn't like a proper warrior. He used to do a seva of the Singhs. He used to make langar for them every day with his wife, with his sister, his mother. They would make langar, and he would go to the forest and feed the Singhs and the Hung Singhs that were out there. And one day, this guy comes to his house and says, no one cares about me. I've lost my daughter. She's kidnapped by this guy. Yeah, she's going to get made into his wife. What can I do? No one's here to help me. Bhai Mani Singh said, the Khalsa will help you. She's our daughter as well. She's our sister as well. And he goes with him to the Singhs. He says, "Eh gal hegi hai." And the Singh said, right, we have to do something. So they actually go to the local zamindar, I can't remember his name right now. And in the plan, they actually break in and rescue this woman, this sister of ours. They rescue her, reunite with the father. And Bhai Taru Singh is basically sold down the river by somebody in the village, yeah, who sees what he's doing. He says, points, this is the guy that done it. So he's captured then, okay. And what they do is, they say, because they wanted to convert him, because he was quite beloved, they said if we convert him, they said, we'll cut your hair. He goes, you will not be able to cut my hair. And they said to him, we can. He goes, if you do this to me, he goes, you will die before me. He says to this Zakaria Khan, yeah. He says, you're going to die before me. Yeah. And they can't cut his hair, you see. They try with all their kanchiya and everything. They just can't cut his hair. It becomes strong as iron. So they scalp him instead. They pull his hair off him. As he's bleeding, it takes a long time to bleed to death. Yeah, 20 or 30 odd days. In this time, Zakaria Khan can't go to the toilet. Yeah, his wee won't come out. That's it. And he's in immense pain, so much pain. He begs, someone do something. Someone do something. He asks a Sikh to help him. He goes, that Bhai Taru Singh cursed me. He said to me, ki main marna hai before him. That's what's happening to me right now. Can you help me? Can you help me? This guy takes pity on Zakaria Khan because of his pain. Khalsa is still Dialu. He goes to the Panj. He goes into the Panj Pyar. He says, asks. He goes, this is what's happened. Bhai Taru Singh said this. They said, all we can do Ardas. and they asked the Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj, they said, look, let's do something that we can, allow this man to release some of his pain that he's going through. So the ardas is that every time he's hit on the head by Bhai Taru Singh's jutti, his V will come out. By the jutti of Bhai Taru Singh. Yeah. So they went to find Bhai Taru Singh's juttiyan. He didn't have any juttiyan. Yeah. So they bought some juttiyan, put them on Bhai Taru Singh's feet, then took juttiyan off him, took it to Masarangar, and they would to Zakaria Khan, they would hit him on his head. As they would hit him, he said, he would be able to go to the toilet. And actually, he just asked to be hit again and again, harder, because he was in so much pain. They actually died from those beats on his head. Yeah. This is a true story. Now you might think, well, what's this? Bhai Taru Singh, he was a poncho and Mahaprabhu. Unhe bachan karta, and the bachan had to come true. Yeah. You got to understand the bachan. When you say Karam Khand ki Bani Jor, when they get to that level, Karam Khand, their words have power. Bani, their Bani, what they say has power. Baba Buddha Ji, when he said to Mata Ganga Ji, you will have a son who will be a great warrior, it's exactly what happened. Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji was born to Mata Ganga Ji. Yeah? So their words have power. Zakaria Khan dies the same day as Bhai Taru Singh. Now, Mir Manu is next. Mir Manu becomes the next governor of Lahore. Okay? So these people you've heard about. Now, in 1746, also, this is Chota Ghallugharas, sorry, so this is the kind of, in that time period, Lakhpat Rai, that was the Hindu guy I told you about earlier who was kind of against the Khalsa, joins up with what was still left of the Mughal forces of Lahore, and they fought a whole bunch of things in Gurdaspur, and about 7,000 died in one day. Okay? And 100 are brought to Lahore and beheaded again. So this is like the main, but this is like the army being killed, yeah? Chota Ghallugharas during this time of Zakaria Khan and Lakhpat Rai. What happens after this? There was a Gurmata. Sorry, I'm going a bit too much. I'm going to have to speed up a little bit because it's quite deep, yeah? But in 1747, there's a Gurmata. They expand the Khalsa. The Khalsa is still expanding, believe it or not. They go, look, we've got too many Misls. Let's divide it from 5, go to 25. So we've got 25 Misls now, yeah? Nawab Kapur Singh becomes still the leader, right? So he's clearly one of the greatest leaders of our Panth, okay? Each Misl has a leader and an area of responsibility. In 1748, then there's Harbat Khalsa. Nawab Kapur Singh goes, I'm very old now. I've been in charge since 1930s. Yeah, you don't get this kind of stuff from Gurudwara committees nowadays, by the way. They don't retire. Yeah, 1748, he's been in charge for a good, 15 years. Yeah, he says, I'm going to step down. And he then chooses, and the Panth accepts, Jassa Singh Ahluwalia. Now, Jassa Singh Ahluwalia, his nickname is Guru Ka Lal. Yeah, Lal means like the jewel, yeah, or the beloved. He is really a beloved of the Guru. Now remember, Guru Gobind Singh, but the Khalsa knows that this guy, he was an amazing Kirtani, and he was also purely serving the Panth. That's all he was. He was he was like basically recognized by everybody. Okay, they chose him, and he's given the title Sultan-e-Qaum, the king of the Qaum. He's one of the other great leaders after Kapur Singh. Okay, in this time, so Bhai Mani Singh, yeah, and then it goes to Nawab Kapur Singh, and now to Jassa Singh Ahluwalia. Very inspirational kid. His mother was a very strong Sikh. As a child, she took him up to Bhai Mani Singh and said, teach him everything, And then she gave him to Nawab Kapur Singh and said, train him up. I want him to serve the Panth. This is a lone mother taking her only son and says, make him a Khalsa and train him up to be the Khalsa. Yeah? These are the mothers we're talking about in our Panth. He was both in battle and administration very adept. Okay. Then what happens again? And during this time, luckily for us here, the Persian Afghans again invade India, right? So the administrations again messed up trying to work out, who's in charge. From 1748, 1605, yeah, Nadir Shah this time has died, the one that invaded the first time, and his successor is Ahmad Shah Abdali. So when you think about Ahmad Shah Abdali, don't think about Mughal India, think about Persian Mughals, yeah? He comes over, he loves raiding India. This guy's favorite thing is raiding India. 9 times he invades, yeah? Within 48 to 65. So not even 2 plus 10 and 5, yeah? 17 years. 17 years. He invades 9 times. This guy every 2 years, yeah, he's like, right, time to go. Have you seen there was a program, Vikings, yeah? Every summer they used to go and invade the French, basically. That's what he was like. Yeah. Sikhs now use this conflict between those two people to actually, become stronger and stronger under Jassa Singh Ahluwalia. And in 1950, look, in 3 years, we've now got 60 Jathas. From 25 Misls, 60 Jathas, yeah? And we all get together and call a Sarbat Khalsa. Now, in this period now, from Nawab, this is all by Jassa Singh Ahluwalia, yeah? 50 to 62, in this period of time, what happens, okay? Very quickly. Mir Mannu, okay? He was the one that took over from Zakaria Khan. He's the next governor of Lahore. He likes to kill Sikhs. Yeah? Sims of all the Lahore, heads of Lahore tend to Manta. That's one of the main places that Sikhs. If you ever go to Lahore, just, it's almost like, I don't know what to think. Like, go to Lahore, a nice place to visit, but how many hundreds of thousands of Sikhs would have been beheaded there? So, he goes there, governor of Lahore. It comes under Abdali. Abdali takes over Lahore. And Mir Manu starts to work for him. Because he's like a regional head, he says, there's no point working for the Indian Mughal king. Yeah, when I can work for the Persian Mughal king because he's now in charge. So his loyalties switch. He doesn't care. He's in charge. He continues to persecute Sikhs, so the prices are increased. Sorry, spelling there. He sets up a special task force. Their only job is to kill the Sikhs. Okay? Thousands again taken to Lahore and killed. But, this is what he does, yeah? The stories you've seen about the heads of the Sikhs there, being offered price. The women, yeah, whose babies were chopped up, right, and put around their neck. And then the work they had to do of Chakki Chagil, so much work they had to do. But again, the women remain strong. There's not one recorded case of a woman giving up her Sikhi because a child was killed, yeah, or she was raped or whatever it was, yeah. In the same time, Ahmad Shah Abdali, okay, decides to teach the Sikhs a lesson, and he basically, because he's being harassed every time he attacks the Sikhs, he tries to teach the Sikhs a lesson. And in 57, 61 and 62, he goes into Harmandir Sahib, takes it over, desecrates it. Either destroys it, yeah, or throws like cow's blood into the sarovar, things like this, yeah, just to kind of annoy the Sikhs because they keep annoying him. Yeah, every time the Sikhs sort it out again. Yeah, so basically he comes every 2 years, and in the meantime they get it sorted out. Baba Deep Singh at one point in 1757 decides, right, enough is enough. He's taken over Harmandir Sahib. We got to do something. Yeah, and remember we're the Panj Pyare for Nawab Kapur Singh. So he's been around for a long time now. In the 50s, yeah, he's about 80 years old. Yeah, Baba Deep Singh says, right, today, right, there's a line. He draws a line in the ground. He said, whoever crosses this line, you got to accept death today. Aaj hi marna hai. Yeah, aaj hi marna hai. And he takes an army of 5,000 people, yeah, to Harmandir Sahib. Baba Ji is Shaheed. You know about Shaheed, yeah? Head is chopped off, but he keeps it on. Because he made a promise, main Harmandir Sahib pahunch ke marna hai. Yeah? And again, he was of such a level that his karam, his bani, what he said, had to happen. And somebody reminded him, Baba Ji, you died. Well, you said you would reach there. How can you do this? You gave your bachan. How can you do this? And he actually got up from his deathbed, got up and he carried his head back, got all the way there. Now you imagine those poor Mughals, innit? Guy walking, holding his head up. Who are they fighting, innit? It's the army of God. Khalsa, Akal Purak ki Fauj. Pargateo Khalsa Paramatam ki Mauj. It's a Mauj of the Khalsa of Akal Purak. Babaji Shaheed. In 1762, there's another Vadda Ghallugharas. At the end of this, Abdali attacks the Sikhs, but this time near Maler Kotla, he doesn't attack the Sikh soldiers. What he chances upon are the women, the children and the old people, who have only got like a couple of Sikhs basically to defend them. And they're all slaughtered. 20,000 to 30,000 Sikhs killed in one day. A lot of Sikhs. But Sasangaji, they were not the fighting forces, were they? So the fighting forces very quickly reorganized themselves, right? And they pretty much, they didn't lose heart, and effectively in 62, straight after, in 9 months, they attack him back. Yeah, they reorganized themselves. These things were not like today, 30 years on, we're still moaning about, give us justice. Yeah, they just took it, their own justice, they just took their justice. Yeah, they delivered justice, what you might say, not asked for it. 1672 Battle of Amritsar, they defeated the Afghan forces. Look, in 62 they did it. Yeah, 6 months later, they defeated them and then made them clear up the whole of Harmandir Sahib from what they'd done. 16, and this is now when the tide rolls back. Yeah, 1764, we capture Lahore. Then the thing is, the Sikhs set up the rule again, set up a coin. You know, they go like, yes, we've got the thing. People are very happy. They're very non-sectarian. It's not about Sikhs ruling over Muslims and making them feel bad. It was all equality, like it should be. Yeah, but Lahore gets retaken by Abdali in 1766. But then he ends up giving up. He's getting old. Okay. He wants to consolidate in Afghanistan. He can't bother to come to India and loot it anymore. Yeah, so he's done all of his looting. So he's done his looting now. And actually, the people want the Sikhs to rule. The average son of Punjab, which is mostly Muslims and Hindus, by the way, the population of Punjab was never ever more than 50% Sikh. The majority of the Hindus and the Muslims want the Sikhs to rule over them, not these crazy Mughals from there or from India. So Bulle Shah, openly Muslim poet, is saying the Khalsa should rule Punjab, no one else. Okay? And that's exactly what happens. Yeah. Basically, the Khalsa now takes over Punjab, but there's no leadership. This is kind of like a dark period for the Khalsa. Why I say? Because the Khalsa is in charge, right? But Jassa Singh Ahluwalia has passed away. Yeah. So he's no longer Sultan-e-Qaum. And now you can see what happens in our period. Look around ourselves in our Panth. Where is the clear leadership nowadays? There isn't, is there? So what happens? We fight amongst each other. There's a story of Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj had a whole bunch of, they said to the Sikhs, look, I'll show you Kotak. They got a whole bunch of rice cooked, they put it in a pile, and they called loads of deer to come and eat. And the deer, they all stood around, nibbled up all the rice. Did the same thing with they got some food and they got the dogs in. What did the dogs do? They didn't sit in this orderly line and just crowd around and eat all the food. Every time one dog would eat some food, the other dog would attack that dog. Yeah? Why are you eating it? I want it all for myself. And what would happen? All the food was ruined, all rubbed into dirt. All the dogs were biting each other and fighting each other. And no one got nothing. That's how Panthic unity works, yeah? Or Panthic disunity works. No one gets anything. So the problem was there were lots of entrants to the Panth, but there was a bit of a shaky foundation. Yeah? And this is what's happening nowadays. Misls start fighting each other for territory because there's no enemy anymore. The Mughal kingdom is pretty much gone. Of India, the Mughals of Afghanistan stopped coming here. So it's like land free for all grab. And they fight each other. The Mughal kingdom is finished, I said. In 1799 then, a young Ranjit Singh from the Sukracharya Misl, he's very young at this time, yeah, he's 17 I think at that time, he captures Lahore, yeah, and then he starts to consolidate his power with all the other Misls. He either marries a daughter from the head of the Misl, or he has some kind of treaty or whatever, but in exchange for whatever his own strength, this way pretty much unites and wins over all the Misls, yeah, marriage or battle. And in 1801, he becomes crowned Maharaja of Lahore. Not everybody is totally in, but he's now pretty much like a major force. Yeah, I think his age is up there or not. Anyway, he was 19, I think, when he was King of Punjab. 17 when he took over Lahore. When I said to you earlier, you started doing things a lot earlier back then, a lot earlier. Nowadays, until you're like graduate from university and been working for a couple of years, you can't even think for yourself effectively. Yeah. So a quick summary, because next week we're going to go through from 1801, next time, which is going to be January, we're going to go through. But just a quick summary to remind you of stuff. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji, 1675, they're the Guru up till 1708. Then Guru Granth Sahib Ji comes in. During the time of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Bahadur Shah is the first king, and then Wazir Khan is the main guy who was causing trouble for the Sikhs, and the Hill Rajas were there. The green is the Muslims, the red is the Hindus. Yeah. Bhai Mani Singh from 1699 becomes obviously important, and up to 1734 he's Shaheed. Then Banda Singh Bahadur, he's given the kind of order from Guru Gobind Singh 1708 up to 1716. Then Farooq Siyar, who's the next king after Bahadur Shah, and Zakaria Khan, who is the one guy that takes over from Lahore, and then Diwan Lakhpat Rai on the Hindu side, who's one of our enemies. Yeah. Nawab Kapur Singh, major leader for the Panth for a long time, up to 1753. Okay. And then also Massa Rangar and Mir Manu. The two ones. Masarang was chopped in Harmandir Sahib, killed. Mir Manu was again killed in battle. Zakaria Khan was a guy that was, because of by Taru Singh. 1746, a Chota Ghallugharas, where all the soldiers were killed, and then Baba Deep Singh obviously taking back and winning over against Ahmad Shah Abdali, 1682. 1757. And Nadir Shah, Ahmad Shah Abdali. He's also called Ahmad Shah Durrani because he's from Durrani family. Okay, so you can see him in both names. Just saying, Ahmad Shah is the main thing. Yeah. Nadir Shah is the first emperor. He dies. And the next one. And then Jassa Singh Ahluwalia, the Sultan-e-Qaum, big leader for the Panth, big leader. Okay, and then the Banda Ghallugharas in 1762, and basically Abdali gives up Lahore, and then Jassa Singh Ahluwalia passes away. 1783, Misl start grabbing land, fighting. Finally, Ranjit Singh comes in and takes over. 1799. Okay, so it's kind of like you can see that the Panth goes like this. With Banda Singh Bahadur, then it goes down again in the forest, and then again we come up, and then we go back into the forest. Yeah, with Nawab Kapur Singh, then Jassa Singh Ahluwalia up, and there's a lot of this, and then finally you've got this kind of free-for-all land grab, and finally Ranjit Singh consolidates it. Okay, so just kind of that period is probably the least known period amongst our community.